Welcome back. Daniel chapter 2. We're talking about Nebuchadnezzar, and he's got some dreams. I always get this dream and Joseph with the Pharaoh's dreams mixed up. I honestly don't even remember what this dream is. I only remember the other one. And anytime I try to recount this story off the top of my head, I'm like, oh, I start doing the Joseph Pharaoh dream. Anyway, boring you. Let's go. Daniel chapter 2, the king's forgotten dream. Now in the second year of the reign of Nebuchadnezzar, Nebuchadnezzar had dreams, and his spirit was troubled, and his sleep left him. Then the king gave orders to call in the magicians, the conjurers, the sorcerers, and the Chaldeans to tell the king his dreams. So they came in and stood before the king, and the king said to them, I had a dream, and my spirit is anxious to understand the dream. And the Chaldeans spoke to the king in Aramaic, O king, live forever. Tell the dream to your servants, and we will declare the interpretation. And the king replied to the Chaldeans, the command from me is firm. If you do not make known to me the dream and its interpretation, you will be torn limb from limb, and your houses will be made a rubbish heap. But if you declare the dream and its interpretation, you will receive from me gifts and rewards and a great honor. Therefore, declare to me the dream and its interpretation. They answered a second time and said, let the king tell the dream to his servants, and we will declare the interpretation. And the king replied, I know for certain that you are bargaining for time, inasmuch as you have seen that the command from me is firm, that if you do not make known to me the dream, there is only one decree for you. For you have agreed together to speak lying and corrupt words before me until the situation is changed. Therefore, tell me the dream, that I may know that you can declare to me its interpretation. The Chaldeans answered the king, there is not a man on earth who could declare the matter for the king, inasmuch as no great king or ruler has ever asked anything like this of any magician, conjurer, or Chaldean. Moreover, the thing which the king demands is difficult, and there is no one else who could declare it to the king except gods, whose dwelling is not with mortal flesh. Because of this, the king became indignant and very furious and gave orders to destroy all the wise men of Babylon. So the decree went forth that the wise men should be slain, and they looked for Daniel and his friends to kill them. And Daniel replied with discretion and discernment to Arioch, the captain of the king's bodyguard, who had gone forth to slay the wise men of Babylon. He said to Arioch, the king's commander, for what reason is the decree from the king so urgent? Then Arioch informed Daniel about the matter. So Daniel went in and requested of the king that he would give him time in order that he might declare the interpretation to the king. And Daniel went to his house and informed his friends, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, about the matter, so that they may request compassion from the God of heaven concerning this mystery, so that Daniel and his friends would not be destroyed with the rest of the wise men of Babylon. Then the mystery was revealed to Daniel in a night vision. Then Daniel blessed the God of heaven. Daniel said, let the name of God be blessed forever and ever, for wisdom and power belong to him. It is he who changes the times and the epochs. He removes kings and establishes kings. He gives wisdom to wise men and knowledge to men of understanding. It is he who reveals the profound and hidden things. He knows what is in the darkness, and the light dwells with him. To you, O God of my fathers, I give thanks and praise, for you have given me wisdom and power. Even now you have made known to me what we requested of you. You have made known to us the king's matter. Therefore Daniel went into Arioch, whom the king had appointed to destroy the wise men of Babylon. He went and spoke to him as follows. Do not destroy the wise men of Babylon. Take me into the king's presence, and I will declare the interpretation to the king." Then Arioch hurriedly brought Daniel into the king's presence and spoke to him as follows: "I have found a man among the exiles from Judah who can make the interpretation known to the king." And the king said to Daniel, whose name was Belteshazzar, "Are you able to make known to me the dream which I have seen and its interpretation?" And Daniel answered before the king, "As for the mystery about which the king has inquired, neither wise men, conjurers, magicians, nor diviners are able to declare it to the king. However, there is a God in heaven who reveals mysteries, and he has made known to King Nebuchadnezzar what will take place in the latter days. This was your dream and the vision in your mind while you were in bed. As for you, O king, while on your bed, your thoughts turned to what would take place in the future, and he who reveals mysteries has made known to you what will take place. But as for me, this mystery has not been revealed to me for any wisdom residing in me more than in any other living man, but for the purpose of making the interpretation known to the king, that you may understand the thoughts of your mind. You, O king, were looking, and behold, there was a single great statue, that statue which was large and of extraordinary splendor, was standing in front of you, and its appearance was awesome. The head of that statue was made of fine gold, its breasts and its arms of silver, its belly and thighs of bronze, its legs of iron, and its feet partly of iron and partly of clay. You continued looking until a stone was cut out without hands, and it struck the statue on its feet of iron and clay and crushed them. Then the iron, the clay, the bronze, the silver, and the gold were all crushed at the same time and became like chaff in the summer threshing floors. And the wind carried them away, so there was not a trace of them to be found. But the stone that struck the statue became like a great mountain and filled the earth. This was the dream. Now, we will tell you its interpretation before the king. You, O king, the King of kings, to whom God, the God of heaven, has given the kingdom, the power, the strength, and the glory. And whenever the sons of men dwell, or the breasts of the beast, the beasts of the field, or the birds of the sky, he has given them into your hand, and has caused you to rule over them all. You are the head of gold. After you, there will arise another kingdom inferior to you, then another third kingdom of bronze, which will rule over all the earth. Then a fourth kingdom, as strong as iron, inasmuch as iron crushes and shatters all things. So like iron that breaks into pieces, it will crush and break all these in pieces. And that you saw the feet and the toes, partly of potter's clay and partly of iron. It will be a divided kingdom, but it will have in it the toughness of iron, inasmuch as you saw the iron mixed with common clay. As for the toes and the feet, which were partly of iron and partly of pottery, so some of the kingdom will be strong, and other part of it will be brittle. And in that you saw the iron mixed with common clay, they will combine with another in the seed of men, and they will not adhere to one another, even as iron does not combine with pottery. In the days of those kings, the God of heaven will set up a kingdom which will never be destroyed. And that kingdom will not be left for another people. It will crush and put an end to all these kingdoms. But it will endure, it will itself endure forever. And as much as you saw that a stone was cut out of the mountain without hands, and that it crushed the iron, the bronze, the clay, the silver, and the gold, the great God has made known to the king what will take place in the future. So the dream and its interpretation, so the dream is true and its interpretation is trustworthy. Then King Nebuchadnezzar fell on his face and did homage to Daniel, and gave orders to present to him an offering and fragrant incense. The king answered Daniel and said, "Surely your God is a God of gods, and a Lord of kings, and a revealer of mysteries, since you have been able to reveal this mystery." Then the king promoted Daniel and gave him many great gifts, and made him ruler over the whole province of Babylon, and chief prefect over all the wise men of Babylon. And Daniel made request of the king, and he appointed Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego over the administration of the province of Babylon, while Daniel was at the king's court. So, very cool. Nebuchadnezzar is a crafty and wise king. Babylon at this point was like nothing the world had ever seen. Massive, massive kingdom, empire. And I mean, there wasn't anywhere you could look. As far as the eye could see in every direction and as far as you could travel, it was all Babylon. And I mean, this is like Nebuchadnezzar's Hanging Gardens was like one of the wonders of the world. It's crazy. This guy was over the top, powerful, prosperous, everything. Over the top. But he's slick. He's slick. It's not just, military might and stuff. The guy is slick. He knows these Chaldeans and whatever, they're crafty. They're going to lie. They're going to tell the king what he wants to hear. He's going to tell them the dream. They're going to tell him he's the stone. They're going to, whatever, right? So he knows what's up. He goes, yo, you got to do both. You got to tell me the dream. If you really are about your stuff, if you're really wizards and magic and can tap into, you're going to tell me the dream too. And they're like, what are you talking about, dude? That's not how magic tricks work. It's like, if you grabbed, a magician's, if you took the whole entire deck and you're like, I'm doing the trick. Oh, but that's not how it works. Yeah. I'm going to do it. Like, you got to make the card jump, but I'm touching the deck the whole time. That's not how it works. I got to do something. I got to set it up a little bit. No. You're using my deck of cards and I'm going to hold it in my hand. Oh, don't work like that. But a real magician, you could pull a deck of cards out of your pocket and not let them set the trick up, and they still do the trick. That's a real magician. Whatever. Obviously, okay. You know what I'm talking about. That's what he's trying to get at. And obviously, they know the jig's up. They know they're about to get slaughtered because these guys know. It's a ruse. They're swindlers. They're liars. So what's very interesting is that Daniel knows. And he gets the homies together and they do some prayer, intense prayer. They know that God can reveal these things. They're confident. God will reveal it. And they really, they get out there and they put themselves on the line and they tell Nebuchadnezzar his dream and they interpret it. And what's really nice is at the end of it, bro, Daniel brings the squad with him. He doesn't leave his boys out there. He's like, yo, we all going to eat. Which is cool. Daniel's a good guy. So in this, it kind of breaks out the kingdoms or whatever. You got Babylon being the first kingdom, Persia, Greece as the second, the bronze one, and then Rome being the fourth one. Now, what is interesting about this is they don't address the silver. If you read it, and again, we're not diving into all the crazy stuff. We're reading this as if you were going to read it. One of the things that jumps out to me when I'm reading it, when Daniel is explaining it back to the king, he explains the gold. That's Babylon. That's you. After that, an inferior, doesn't talk about which one that is. Maybe that's Persia. It's got to be Persia. And then another of bronze. And that would be, we believe, Greece. And then the fourth is iron. And then this is also where it kind of gets a little muddy. And this is his interpretation. He hangs out on this iron one. And at least this translation of the Bible, it gives like little headers about which thing. Well, I'll just pull it up so you can see what I'm talking about here. All right, we got Babylon, first kingdom, then Medo, Persia is going to be silver, Greece is going to be bronze, Rome would be iron. But there's in the dream, its legs of iron and its feet partly of iron and partly of clay. So that is whatever remnant of the Roman Empire. According to this, if this is, super accurate with what that is, and that could just be what is likely, and again, we're not getting super crazy with the interpretations here. We're just taking it lightly. But again, if you're talking about what Rome did, if Rome is the Iron Empire, the Western civilization is a bunch of stuff infused into the Roman Empire idea, right? We took a lot of America and England took a lot of their iconography, the eagles and stuff like that's a lot of Roman stuff, and then their whole idea of the republic and democracy and all that sort of deal. We've taken all of that and blended it with our own stuff, and they don't blend, as we've discovered, right? As we're finding out in America's at least short lifespan so far. Tough. It's tough to blend those. They don't really blend. The crushing iron and the molding clay, they don't mix well. It doesn't make for super stable stuff. It just doesn't. It's very hard to keep those two things going at the same time. You're either going to be a crushing force or you're going to kind of just mold to whatever the situation is. It doesn't really mix. And that's why, there's a lot of stuff going on right now in the world. But anyway, the idea is that there's a stone and there's that stumbling block. There's that imagery that we read about in John and in Luke. Yeah, about a stumbling block. And that was mainly this idea of a stumbling block for the Jews, something that they were going to be constantly tripping over and not being able to get past. But this idea of the stone, it is an idea that appears many times, that God, Christ, his kingdom, his people, it's this stone that is going to dash everything else to pieces. It's this thing that people are not going to be able to get over or get around. It's going to be a wall, a stopping force that nothing can prevail against it. And it's a point of stumbling for people. And that's going to dash everything to pieces. And it will not be, it's not made by man or for man. It's for God, by God. And it will endure forever. So, yeah, big ups to Daniel. The glow up is real. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Read your Bible.